Have you ever suffered a wound that has proven tough to heal, or are you currently battling with a stubborn wound? Well, if your response to the latter question is in the affirmative, then there's good news for you. At Alavanyo Abahanyase in the Volta region, a young traditional doctor is fixing wounded hands and legs that came close to being amputated. Latif Idris visited the soft-talking traditional specialist and reports.
That is what he does best for clients who patronize his services. He makes them cry their hearts out, but in the end gets their wounds healed. In a community of about 1,000 kilometers square, made up of about 2,000 residents, Abochi Komla is saving arms and legs that otherwise would have been amputated. As he dresses the gigantic wound of his new client, the young spiritual doctor who inherited the healing powers from his father tells me his clients call him a sadist because of what he describes as the necessary pain he has to put them through.
She will even run if everything is gone, yes.
How long?
The very day she came, she can't walk on her own. So we carried him to this place, but as at now, he's using the walking stick, managing the stairs. So by the time the wound will gone, she can even run.
His client, Madam Akpene, who yelled throughout the dressing session due to the agonizing pain she had to endure, tells me about the drastic improvement in her condition.
When I came in a week ago, my feet felt very heavy. And when he started treating it, I still felt the heaviness until about 3 days ago when I started experiencing some relief.
In an era of evidence-based stories, I set out to look for some former clients of Komla Abochi, and I came across Mr. Forikweku.
My hand all can make big from my head to my shoulder. I try, I didn't, that still is paining me. Then I heard of my brother, Fukomla. Then I go hospital, then they operate my hair before some water come outside. Before then, the hair all can make wound, big one.
How big was your hand? I mean,
it is very, very big.
Swollen. How big was it?
Nearer to my distance, my
Your thigh.
My thigh.
Abochi Komla shows me the stinking carcass of a snake, bones, beads, needles, and a piece of rag, all which he removed from the leg of Madame Akpene. He explains the procedure.
These things are, when I want to remove things, I just use only a local egg. Local egg. If the spirit will come, you use the egg to be rubbing the body, then you will be chanting. If God bless, all these things will enter the egg. You break it before you see it.
There you have it. If you are currently battling a stubborn wound, you may want to try Komla Abochi at Alavanyo in the Volta region. Latif Idris, Joy News, Alavanyo.
After remaining health and head of hematology at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Degangan Layemi has described the hematologist to patients ratio in Ghana as woefully inadequate. There are currently less than 10 hematologists manning all health facilities across Ghana. The situation, according to Dr. Layemi, makes the treatment of the predicament sickle cell very much challenging in the country.
Nobody wants their child to become a hematologist.
Dr. Digagan Olayemi was speaking at a blood donation exercise to mark World Sickle Cell Day here in Accra. Speaking to Joy News at the sidelines of the exercise, he called on government to make the field attractive to draw more professionals into the field in order to deliver quality health care to sickle cell patients.
In Ghana currently, you have less than 10 hematologists, okay, in a population of about 25 million. The United Kingdom has a population of about 60-something million, and there are about 1,500 hematologists. So you can see that the United Kingdom has about 60 times the number of hematologists that Ghana has, okay, if you are looking at the same population. So, like I said, hematology is not a very flamboyant specialty in medicine, because most people go to medical school, like they want to become surgeons, they want to become gynecologists and all that. Nobody really, very few people are interested in hematology.
He also wants screening of sickle cell to be made compulsory in order to carry out timely intervention.
So I think the government needs to put in place some measures to encourage doctors to go in to specialize in this field. The other problem is that the way the Ghana College of Physicians training goes, the hospital where the medical officer works is supposed to sponsor the medical officer to come and train as a hematologist.
And again, let me remind you, in the last hour of the program, we'll be having in the studio the head of the Sickle Cell Foundation Ghana, Professor Emeritus Mohini Frimpong, in the studio. And so please make sure you stay tuned as we delve into the subject a bit further and continue the education on sickle cell. Now let's continue the news. The West Africa Civil Society Institute has made a strong case for drug addicts by calling for the decriminalization of cannabis, known to many of us as weed, as the world prepares to mark World Drugs Day on June 26. According to the African representative of the International Drug Policy Consortium, Maria Goretti, the nation is shooting itself in the foot by implementing the current drug regime, which criminalizes cannabis use. She said this on the Abri Mountain when the consortium organized a walk dubbed Support, Don't Punish, to create awareness on the harms associated with criminalization of cannabis.
Under Section 3 of the PNDC Law 236 of the Narcotic Drugs Act of 1990, a person who without lawful authority has narcotic drugs in his possession commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 10 years. This policy has landed many young men and women who use the narcotic substance for recreational purposes in prison. Advocates over the years have argued that the current drug regime violates the rights of individuals who have made the choice to smoke marijuana other than the regular tobacco. At the walk dubbed Support, Don't Punish, the African representative of the International Drug Policy Consortium, Maria Goretti, said the nation is shooting itself in the foot with that policy.
Decriminalization has nothing to do with free gate for people to supply or use drugs.
She made a call for the nation to move away from the current regime by decriminalizing marijuana.
When you talk about decriminalization, let me make it clear that decriminalization is not saying that people can just walk in or use drugs at any time they want. Under the decriminalization model, it is still illegal to use drugs. However, if somebody comes in conflict with the law because the person has been arrested for using drugs, instead of the criminal sanctions application for that person, we should rather apply administrative sanctions against that person, such as fines, community service. If the person is a problematic drug user, that means if you have a problem with drugs, that means you are hooked onto drugs. A term that we usually use as addiction. Such a person rather needs some kind of treatment, and so there should be mechanisms to refer that person to seek treatment.
Some celebrities who joined the walk emphasize the need for decriminalization of cannabis.
If we can control the use of drug, the government is going to benefit from it, as well as the people who are addicted are going to be controlled. But if you say that you're just going to punish people, take them to jail, most of the people who take drugs are addicted. Addiction is not it's more of a sickness.
All we are trying to say is we need to stop the stigmatization and also find a place for those who are addicted to drugs, and we shouldn't push them away. We should rather bring them closer to us so that the message we want to send across can really get to them.
World Drugs Day comes off on Sunday, 26 June in the Volta region.
And as you know, here is your election headquarters. We bring you the latest update as to how the heat is picking up for the election that will be convened in November. And the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has criticized government over what he calls the pick and choose tactics in selecting polytechnics that would be upgraded into technical universities. According to him, this clearly shows the failure of government in solving challenges facing polytechnic education. The MPP flag bearer was addressing Tertiary Students Confederacy of the MPP at Cape Coast, the Cape Coast Polytechnic.
The flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party has been preaching his transformational agenda to the chiefs and people of Himan Lower Dejra and Chufu Etimukwa constituencies on the second day of his tour in the central region. The flag bearer told the chiefs and people to help work for the victory of the MPP because Ghana continues to go down among its peers like Cote d'Ivoire that is growing at 9 to 10%. Addressing TESCON Cape Coast Polytechnic branch in the evening, Nana Akufo-Addo faulted government over what he describes as a piecemeal approach in upgrading polytechnics into technical universities. He argues that where some polytechnics are picked and others are left behind is a recipe for disaster.
God willing, we get the chance later this year. We're going to concentrate on building our industrial sector and enhancing our agriculture. And there you have a very important place to play in the development of our country. Was very attractive. But like so many things in the Mahama era, the implementation of this policy is fraught with a lot of danger. We cannot do this policy piecemeal. Either you're doing it for everybody or you're not doing it at all. We can't have a situation where some are picked and others are left out of the process. It's not a good idea. Let us make sure that all the polytechnics in our country, in each of the regions, have the same infrastructure and the same level of development. Then we can make the transition for all of them. But pick some and leave some out, you are disadvantaging and destabilizing the ones that you have left out.
The flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Akufo-Addo, spelled out MPP's policy on polytechnic education in Ghana.
Given the opportunity, we're going to make sure that the infrastructure of the polytechnics are fully developed and that the collaboration between the polytechnics and industry is strong and it is done. That is what is going to make the difference to the technical education of the future of our country. Part of the policies that we have is that we're going to give companies a tax incentive, a tax credit for every fresh graduate that the companies employ, so that we can encourage companies to employ fresh graduates instead of having the graduates sitting down in the house for 4, 5, 6 years doing nothing.
Richard Kwadwo, Joy News, Cape Coast.
And already there's been a reaction, and a Deputy Education Minister in charge of tertiary, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, says the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party was not forthright in his statement after he described the conversion of polytechnics as piecemeal. In a written response, Mr. Okudzeto-Ablakwa maintained that what Nana Addo called a piecemeal approach is an attack on experts and stakeholders in higher education who unanimously recommended to government to avoid a wholesale conversion in order not to compromise the integrity of the conversion process. Well, he added that the panel of experts chaired by Professor Dimado have guided the process driven by a long-term strategic interest of Ghana and not simplistic political infrastructure rhetoric. You can find the full response of Mr. Okudzeto-Ablakwa on myjoyonline.com. And as you know, the election momentum is heating up by the day, and your election headquarters is again busy, bringing you all you need to know about the November 7 elections. One subject that is being propagated by all is the need for peace. And presiding Bishop of the Methodist Church, Bishop Titus Awotri-Pratt, has been heavy on this very subject with Joy News.
Well, before the elections, we are doing intensive teaching in the church, reminding our membership of the patriotic duty. As good citizens of Ghana, they are to hope and pray for peace and stability. Every member in the church belongs to, either directly or indirectly, or a political party. Those who are actively involved and are party activists, we tell them, whenever at your meetings people want to foment instability and anything to go against our peace, they are to be the salt and the light the Bible talks about. Let them be exemplary and diffuse such things and educate themselves among themselves. That is not good enough for us. Ghana is bigger than any party or any person. So we're teaching that. Secondly, we are asking members who registered to vote to cast their votes. They are to go and cast their votes. It's like the franchise. That is the duty of every patriotic citizen in a nation. The best thing is go, cast your vote, leave and go home. Sit by your radio, watch the telly, or if you are closer to your polling station, in the evening, go and listen to the results. Never be part of anything that will disturb the peace of the nation. And thirdly, we've asked our members to be conscious about news put on the air in connection with the elections. Wherever people are talking about the nation in the elections, they have to make sure that those who are talking about these things are persons who are thinking rightly. They are also to educate one another to know that if I am in party A and you are in party B, it doesn't make us enemies. You have a way of thinking where you think Ghana could be properly managed, administered. I have a different view. And so if we cast the vote, the lot, and I win, support me to run the nation. If you win, I'll support you to run the nation. We are not enemies. We belong to the same nation with a common destiny. Therefore, we are to ensure that, despite the party differences, we are one people. We are telling our members that.
And that's it for the news this morning. Next, we'll be looking at what the front back pages of the newspapers, and also we'll be looking at some online portals as well. But right now, you want to get interactive, please make sure you do so. 0560 800,000 is a number on our WhatsApp platform, and right now we're streaming live on our channel on YouTube. The channel's name is My Joy Online. As you do that, or keep searching and keep sending your messages as you phrase them, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at all the stories, our front back pages of the newspapers in a bit.